Welcome to my mind mapping video. Boy, I've come a long way in my understanding of VLAN since I made this mind map. But I'm going to just go over some of these branches with you. I guess when you make a video, you're supposed to do an overview first. And so let's start with flexibility, why VLANs are flexible, broadcasts, STP, trunking, VTP versions, router on a stick, performance, security, logical segmentation, traffic, layer 3 switch. There are a lot of reasons to create a VLAN in your organization. VLANs. One of them is you reduce broadcasts. A VLAN is a logical segmentation of your network. It gives your organization, or you as a system administrator, makes your network more manageable, gives you flexibility, it increases performance. STP does work with VLANs, spanning tree protocol. Now, Cisco VTP, which is a trunking protocol based on 802.1q. 802.1q is the standard. Now, Cisco has mixed feelings about VTP, I believe, in their documentation. They want you to use it, and they don't want you to use it. They developed VTP so that you can quickly manage a large network, a medium to large network, because if you have several switches with many VLANs configured and you need to make a change to a VLAN, well, instead of visiting every switch individually to update the VLAN information, where you can even make mistakes. Okay, if you had to visit 10 switches with VLAN information change, you're going to make a mistake. But with VTP, supposedly, all this information propagates automatically throughout your network. So it's a convenience tool, and it's set up where you have to make a domain name, okay, a VTP domain name. You can protect your domain, VTP domain, with passwords. In fact, it's recommended, because if you don't, VTP can become a fire inferno. If someone were to bring a Cisco switch from home that they bought on eBay or something, plugged it into your network somehow, okay, if you didn't have port security set up on the ports, which terminates at the employee's cubicle, and they plug in this rogue switch, they could bring your network to its knees. Okay, fire inferno. So VTP has been called your friend, but it could also be called a fire inferno. And with VTP, you can determine switch port modes, the different modes are, and if you're gonna be taking the exam, you're gonna need to know this stuff. Okay, these specifics about VTP. Switch port modes, you have access mode, you have dynamic auto and dynamic desirable, and you have trunk mode. So these are specific modes for the port. You don't ever want to use the auto modes. Any seasoned system administrator will tell you you better take control of your network and not let devices auto configure themselves. And switch port types, client, server, transparent. You can set the switch to as a client, where it just doesn't do anything. Server, where it actually is active and propagating the changes. And transparent mode, I believe, doesn't do absolutely anything. It's not a client or a server, but it allows changes to go through it. Now, VTP pruning. Boy, I'm starting to forget this stuff. VTP pruning is a performance feature where you reduce broadcasts, which is always going to increase performance, because if a group of switches is not part of a VLAN, then it doesn't need to be bothered with the traffic. Pruning makes it so that only the switches involved with a change get the update, and not everybody else. Now, I guess there's a second version out. Cisco came out with VTP version 2 and 3, actually, and there's a third version. The software allows for support of a larger quantity of VLANs, 4,000 VLANs, whereas version 1 and 2 only supported 1,000 VLANs, which My goodness, 1,000 VLANs. That's a lot of VLANs. Quick word on router on a stick. Anytime you create a VLAN, you're going to need a layer 3 device in there so that the separate VLANs can communicate with each other, because they're isolated from one another. Layer 3 switches are very popular now. They've gone down in price, and router on a stick is something you don't see anymore. So I think I mentioned earlier also that VLANs, you set them up because they increase performance. One of the biggest reasons for VLANs is security. Anytime you have a problem on your network, if you got these logical segmentations of your network using VLAN technology, it's easier to isolate problems, and it keeps a problem from spreading throughout your whole network. VTP, you gotta have passwords for your VTP domain. Okay, this way, sometimes companies sponsor labs where Cisco equipment is set up in a lab environment, and you play around with the lab equipment, and one day, for whatever reason, somebody who's not familiar with the lab experiment takes a switch and plugs it into the production network because maybe they're putting out a fire. It's absolutely necessary to do that, and VTP updates start to happen, and this piece of lab equipment causes lots of problems. So if you set up unique domain names and password protect it as a system administrator, you're going to save yourself a lot of headaches. Very good. That pretty much covers all the branches that on this mind map. Made this mind map about 6 months ago, and it's been a journey. It's been a journey learning all I need to learn to pass the CCNA exam. Thanks for watching the video. I hope it was informative.